So in this term of government, the government has either been slow to clear the air or been less than upfront and forthright with Singaporeans when it had to deal with potentially embarrassing issues. I will give 3 examples that capture this point, and my clarifications will be contained therein. Firstly, in May this year, the public was not informed forthwith that CPIB had been instructed to look into the ride-out road rentals by 2 ministers. On the 23rd of May, the Prime Minister released a statement stating SM Teo Hsien had been appointed to establish whether there had been any wrongdoing in the ride-out road rentals in order to maintain the highest standards of integrity in government. What the Prime Minister did not tell the public, but was made known by way of a statement from the Prime Minister's office written in the third person on the 28th of June, was that the Prime Minister had directed the CPIB to investigate the ride-out road matter on the 17th of May, a full 6 days before his 23rd May statement, that omitted to mention that he had ordered a CPIB investigation into 2 of his ministers. The public came to know about the CPIB investigation more than a month later when investigations were completed, with CPIB confirming no criminal offence was disclosed. Second, there is considerable public disquiet about the CPIB releasing a statement on the 12th of July which stated that Minister Iswaran was assisting with investigations while omitting to disclose the fact that Minister Iswaran had been arrested a day before. Has the Prime Minister inquired with the CPIB why it undertook such a course of action that brought unnecessary attention to the CPIB's processes and by extension even its impartiality involving the release of statements in the public interest? And if he did not, would he consider to do so? Thirdly, during COVID-19, the public was belatedly informed by a minister in this House that his senior cabinet colleagues were aware by October 2020 that previous government assurances on TraceTogether being solely used for contact tracing were effectively false statements of fact. Misrepresentations had hitherto been made by various government ministers and possibly in this House even before October 2020, and they stood uncorrected for months. The PAP government took almost 9 months before it disclosed to Singaporeans that the Singapore Police Force sought to collect TraceTogether data for an investigation in May 2020, even as the PAP continued to assert right through the rest of the year that TraceTogether was only to be used for contact tracing. Unlike as represented by the PM, these are not events that I quote are clustered together, all coming at one go. Instead, they reveal a pattern of behavior over a period of time of the PAP engaging in half-truths on matters of significant public interest.
The leader of the opposition raises 3 issues, one of which has been extensively debated, in fact, in 2020 during COVID, and I don't need to go back there again, which is the TraceTogether and whether we should have announced earlier when we discovered that the police were using it for their purposes. I think that has been completely explained, closed. That matter is done. As for CPIB statements, the CPIB doesn't investigate somebody unless there is a very serious reason to do so. And the CPIB doesn't reveal that investigation generally until it has reason to believe that this investigation has to carry on, that it has to go somewhere. Therefore, in general, CPIB investigations are not in the first instance announced at all. And when I ask the CPIB to investigate, it's my prerogative. I don't have to tell anybody. What is important is that I did conduct an investigation and the investigation results were published. That is what matters. In the case of the 12th July statement, the reason why the CPIB said exactly what they said, if you listen carefully to Minister Chuan-Jin Singh, that explanation has been given, which was that they had to say what they felt justified in saying at that point for operational reasons and to be fair to the persons involved, and the ministers, unless we have strong reason to do otherwise, will go along, and we will not go beyond what the CPIB needs and is able to say.